I look so today. Hey Hoties, welcome to my channel. My name is hautemesstom and thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today we're gonna run through some things that have been in my purgatory drawer or like that have yet to be reviewed, and I'm gonna give you my final thoughts on all of them. If you are new to my channel is really about loving my makeup collection as it currently is and being really discerning when I decide to bring something into my makeup collection. So the review drawer, the to review drawer, the purgatory drawer, which is a thing I'm borrowing from Louise Poston, is a place where whenever I'm reviewing something or if I'm not sure about something, it stays in there until I decide it's worth keeping for me or passing on to someone else. So that's kind of what we're doing here. So that kind of content sounds good to you, I would love to have you subscribe. Make sure you like this video, and I'm also on patreon.com if you would like to support me there. There's absolutely no pressure. I'm just so happy that you are here, commenting and liking and just watching the video and enjoying yourself. And I hope that's what's happening whenever you're at my channel. I do want to take a moment to thank my current patrons. You are the best. It's me from the future. I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the video, so I'm just editing this clip in. Make sure you're here on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's Critical Sass Live, and I haven't done a Critical Sass in a month, so we have a lot to catch up on, and I would love to see you there. If you don't know what that is, it's my new makeup release videos, and we together try to figure out whether or not makeup releases are good or bad for us, and I would love to see you there. I have 4 things that I would like to discuss with you. Some of them are going to be like much shorter reviews and some of them are going to be a little bit more in depth, but I decided to lump them all together just based on, well, how I was feeling and how I wanted to do it, and so that's why we're doing it that way. Okay, so the first thing I would like to talk about is the Tower 28 MakeWaves Mascara. I have been testing this for the past 3-ish months, but I didn't make it all the way. Did you guys hear that? This chair really is trying to eject me. So I didn't even make it to the 3-month mark with this. Now, this is something I bought with my personal budget. It wasn't something that I planned on reviewing. A lot of people had already given their opinions on the MakeWaves mascara, but I have been using it for some time and I would like to give my feedback. I really liked this mascara for the first 2 months, but as soon as we were rolling closer to the 3rd month, like finishing the 3rd month out, it got bad, and it got bad quick. I know I'm unlike a lot of people where I actually will dispose of my mascara every 3 months. Like, I don't go 6 months. I like to have one mascara open and I like to use it for 3 months, and then I like to dispose of it, and then I like to get a new mascara. On most mascaras, the shelf life is 3 months. Sometimes it's longer, and if there's one thing that I'm not gonna really mess around with, it's something that's going around and in my eye, you know, that could get in my eye. And so that's why whenever it comes to mascara, I don't really play around. Here's what happened. So this formula is beautiful and dramatic, and it provides beautiful thickness and volume, and it's a really nice mascara when you first get it, but towards the end of its life, so basically within the last 3 weeks, it started acting really funny. The formula got really thick, really thick. I don't even want to call it dry. I want to call it just thick. And every time I would put it on my lashes, I felt like it was pulling my lashes. Not in a painful way, and I don't feel like I actually lost any eyelashes, but there was just it was not as smooth of a process putting it on as it once was. And I found that strange. And another thing it did, and hopefully it will do it, maybe I'll be able to get, there is so much product just stuck and gunked up in the brush, and it didn't do that when I first bought it. Here's my thoughts on this. I know that Tower 28 is a clean beauty brand, and I know that the preservatives in clean beauty brands are not as powerful as those that are not. And I'm not here to define what clean beauty is for you. I don't subscribe to clean beauty, but I'm gonna guess that maybe because of that claim, that clean beauty, whatever Tower 28 defines clean beauty, maybe this just doesn't last as long as other mascaras. That's something to keep in mind. Now, I believe that this mascara is $20, so it's not the most expensive mascara you're gonna find at Sephora. So that's one thing, but if it's gonna go bad every 2 months, or it's only gonna perform the way I like it to for 2 months, then it's not really worth it for me. I don't dislike this mascara, but I just wouldn't recommend it, especially if you're someone who's a little more lax with your expiration timing with mascara. I just think that this would not be the way to go. I just don't like the way it's performing anymore. And that's a real shame, because a lot of the times, by the time I'm getting to the 3-month mark, if I like the mascara, I'm oh, I'm gonna miss having this mascara. And I actually don't feel that way about this. I feel I'm ready to let it go, and I'm okay not seeing it again. I didn't really enjoy it these past couple of weeks. If you like it, I understand why you like it, but I actually think it's a pass for me. Something I do want to say in this video that's not a review, I brought the Lash Clash back into my life, and I'm so happy. I put it on for the first time again yesterday. Honey, sweetie, honey. I was so thrilled. I remember exactly why I love this. Your lashes look really beautiful and fluttery and long and a little bit thick. Not as thick as the MakeWaves mascara, but like it's just a beautiful, beautiful, oh, it's a beautiful mascara. It's a beautiful mascara and I'm excited to use it again. I still think that after this one, I'm going to use the Tarte one again and then just decide from there which one I like better. The Tarte Tubing Mascara, if you're new here, I really like that mascara too, but I had used them so far apart. I used this like at the beginning of last year and I used the Tarte one at the end of last year and I was like, it's between those two and I'm not really sure which one, but oh boy. I've missed this mascara. I've been thinking about it ever since I was over, our relationship was over, I was like thinking about it. So I'm so excited to have this back in my life. I think next up, we're going to do something very short. This is Kiss of Pink. This is the Bareminerals Blonzer in Kiss of Pink. That's the colorway that it's in. And it's just a blush. I am recanting my rally against pink blush. I'm recanting it. I am wearing orange blush in this video, but I have been enjoying pink blush. I've been enjoying this. What I love about this is a no fuss, easy blush for me and my skin tone. Like if I really can't decide on what blush to wear, I will just choose this. It's not cool toned. It's not really warm toned. It lands somewhere in the middle and it just is, it's very lovely. And I already have the Kiss of Copper Blonzer and I really love that too, but it's nice to have one that feels like a little more approachable for me and that's very nice. So I am going to keep this. I know, shock of the century. So thank you, Megan, for sending this to me. I'm glad I can use it and give it a home. I'm excited to have it. I'm excited to add it permanently to my drawers. I have been enjoying using it. The next thing is the Creature of the Light Soft Glow Enhancer and I have the shade Opalescent Creature. Now, I'm not sure that I'm making my final decision on this yet because I still feel like I don't know it. But one of the most important things to me whenever I am reviewing a product, and I know this is me personally, but it's how often am I coming back to it? How often am I seeking it out to use it when it's in that purgatory drawer? Because oftentimes the things that I want to grab the most in there are the things that I want to keep and the things that I like and the things that I enjoy the most. I have to be honest with you, I don't reach for this very often. And it's really interesting to think about whenever it was brand new to me. Even then I used it the first time and then I was like, okay, that's fine. And then I just didn't really want to use it again. Is it a bad product? No. But is it the best thing that I have in this category? Also, no. So it has this iridescent hue to it. I thought this was going to perform more like Glow Lust. I thought it was going to be something that had this tenacity to show through my foundation and give it a little something something. Glow Lust does that. Right whenever I put it on this area of my cheek, even before I do highlighter and the rest of it, once I put foundation over it, you can still tell that I did something to that area of my cheek. I primed my whole face with this and I just felt like it didn't look any different. But I do think it has a slight, light diffusing quality. It does a little bit of a blur to it. I think I would prefer it without two things. I would actually prefer it to just be the formula without the opalescence, but all of these have some kind of shimmer to them. There's a more golden one and then there's a deeper one. I don't really often lean golden. I'm pretty warm today, but I made a decided choice that I wanted to have a warm look on today. So, but I don't do this often. I actually lean more cool toned whenever I do looks, but we are heading into summer and I was feeling the sun's out and I'm feeling very, I'm feeling my oats as far as bronze, feeling bronzy. But this one makes the most sense to me because I don't lean into that golden too often, but we're now heading into a season where I will be doing it more. But I had this during the colder months and I wish I liked it more than I did. So without the opalescence, I think I would like that better if it was just kind of just a straight up primer. Also, it has this scent to it. Now, it's not a scent that bothers. It's it's just pungent when you first pump it out. It does not stick around. It doesn't, it's not something that I smell all day. But the first time I pumped it out, I was like, that is smelly. And so it's some kind of oh God, prune, plum. I think it's a plum. Is it a prune, a dried plum? Anyway, for me to falafel fries about that right now because I don't know the answer and I'm not going to Google it. So that's something that also detracts me from using it. And now, before I had a YouTube channel, I never really clocked that Rituel Diffuse products all have some kind of natural scent to them. And then I started talking about how much I love the highlighters and I had a lot of feedback from people who said that they don't like the way that they smell and it's actually a deterrent. And actually sometimes it's an irritant too. Like I know that scent in general is an irritant, but like also when you're talking about essential oils, and I'm assuming that's what it is, but maybe it's not. So I don't want to speak out of line here. But like when you're using like that kind of thing, that's also something that can agitate people. It's like something you have to be aware of. So I don't know. So I'm not really done with this because I feel like I haven't given it its complete due. I like the way it looks on my skin. And I know that some people who have bought this have worn it just on their bare skin. And I don't really have an interest in doing that. I haven't really tried it as a highlighter on top of it. But like, you know, it's a nice, like it's not the worst product I've used, but right now I'm like leaning towards decluttering it because I feel like every time I open up that drawer and I see it in there, I'm like, I really wish I liked you more, and I really wish I wanted to pull you out. And I think a good thing to compare it to is whenever this has been in there as well as the Victoria Beckham. I think this came in after the Victoria Beckham one. So this had more new, like this had that feeling of newness. You know how like whenever you get a new thing, you're like, I want to use that thing all the time. And then once you get another new thing, that's whenever you really like lose the luster for the other thing. So I had the Victoria Beckham one for longer and this one in the drawer, and I continued to reach for the Victoria Beckham one over this. So I'm not sure about this, but I think this is going to be someone's thing. I'm not 100% sure it's my thing. And I still need to get to the complete bottom of it. So it's staying in the purgatory drawer for a little bit longer. I think for all of those reasons, I just wanted to talk about it because I feel like it's just been, if you've seen it in one of my videos and you always thought like, I wonder what they think about it. I just wanted to give you like, if you wanted it as a primer, I'm not sure that that's the end goal for me using it, but I do want to see if I can get it to do something for me. And I just haven't figured out what it is. So that's going back in the purgatory drawer, unfortunately. And now we're going to just wrap things up with the Glaminatrix Nocturnal Palette. First and foremost, this palette isn't available anymore. I bought it to try the formula, and I knew that that palette was like going out of stock. They were being very vocal about it. I did want to grab it because it was the one color story from Glaminatrix that did appeal to me, and people wanted me to hear my thoughts on this. I don't care for this. And I feel bad saying that because they're an indie brand and I think what they're doing is cool. Like I still think that this color story is like very, very cool. It feels like it should be right up my alley. It really does. It doesn't fulfill the fantasy. So I'm going to set this down for a second while I talk about this and then kind of talk about my journey with this palette because I think it's worth referencing on my final time talking about the palette. So the palette had been out for a year before I bought it. And whenever I was really interested in it, whenever it was first launching, I had just started my budget for my channel. I had just come off a 6-month no-buy. And during my 6-month no-buy, I actually did a video where I like duped the vibes, but it was before they had released all the colors of it. And I remember making that palette and using it all the time. And a bunch of color stories kind of like this had come out after. And I bought the FIlle palette, the Odin's Eye with Angelica Nick Feast collab. I bought that because I thought it would fulfill the fantasy. And I did like the FIlle palette and I used it. But I did ultimately declutter the FIlle palette. Finally got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm buying this to review. You guys were still interested in hearing what I thought about it. It didn't live up to the fantasy that I had created in my head. Now, I think if I would have bought it at first, I think it would have had a little bit of a fighting chance. The whole reason we dupe the vibes or we create our version of a palette that inspires us to use our collection in a different way, that was the best part because I used that palette that I made that was like the dupe of this, which it wasn't even like a close dupe. Like the color story that I made is like not even closest color story. I had already had my best version of this palette and this palette was never going to live up to it. I think that is ultimately what happened. This palette came into my collection and while I am not in an eyeshadow buying feel, like I'm not feeling lust and love for eyeshadow like new releases. Like it's not something I feel like I run out of purchase. I do eyeshadow almost every time I do my makeup, but there's always an eyeshadow aspect to it. And there are palettes that I lean towards and I grab for more and that I like using. I never wanted to use this palette. And again, it's not my newest palette, but it's one of my newer palettes. It's in that drawer and I know it's there. And you know what I kept grabbing for over this? Stuff I already, like, in fact, like today I used this palette. This is the Pat McGrath Mothership. I think it's number 5. And I don't use this palette that often. This palette's sitting right here for me to use. And I just said, no, thank you. I would rather just use this thing I already had. I ran through like 10 of my palettes. Actually, my palettes are not in my drawer. As I've been using my palettes, I've been like putting them in a different place because I just want to like cycle through them a little bit better. It's like a low key project. And like, I do have some things to say about that, but we'll circle back to that at another time. I was choosing my own eyeshadow palettes over this. Now, that's not to say that that's what you would do, but I'm just trying to tell you that from someone who lusted after this palette, now owns the palette, and feels really indifferent to it. Maybe if you've ever duped the vibes and really liked your version of it, that's enough. That's enough. You don't need to buy the palette. Like, you already have the things that are going to probably make you the happiest. But let me tell you why I don't love it. So first and foremost, I just want to say up front, I don't think this is a bad eyeshadow palette or a bad formula. I don't think I think they're good. I've followed Glaminatrix, and every time they swatch their shimmers, they look so beautiful. And I gag for a beautiful shimmer, right? Textured, beautiful, gorgeous, big, chunky, chunks of mica. Like, that's something that I'm very into and I really like. Like, there's sparkle on my eyes today. I love sparkle. Now, this isn't my sparkliest. This isn't the sparkliest I've gone. If you can hear my neighbor buzzsawing whatever he's doing, I'm so sorry, but I do want to get this video done. My favorite part of this palette was actually the mattes, and that's pretty uncommon for me. And my ideal palette is like mostly shimmers, texture, and then a couple of mattes to like use with the palette. The looks that I did where I would just like wear the mattes were like my preferred. The shimmers left me a lot to be desired, and they did not stand up to the test of Terra Moons. They did not stand up to my Cliona shadows. They did not stand up to Shine by SD. Like, they just aren't, they're not bad. They're not bad. They're beautiful, but they just don't have the it factor that I'm really looking for when it comes to this. In fact, I was reviewing Victoria Beckham and I got the shade Mink, which was like a lid luster. It's a single thing, and it had so much texture and sparkle to it. And that seems really unexpected from that brand whenever like this brand is kind of like selling themselves on these like beautiful textural shades. The only one that really lives up to it is Milky Way. Now, I might be speaking out of turn here, so if I am, I will post something on the screen to correct myself. I'm fairly certain they still are selling these shades. They're not selling this palette. I would consider buying Milky Way because it is really pretty. It does it for me. And whenever I did my eye for an eye video, once I put that on, I was like, wow, okay, that's really doing something. It really is special because I put it up against a Cliona shade. All these other shimmers really truly fall flat for me. Now, I don't need my shimmers to be super pigmented. I don't need it to have like a strong base to it, but they felt like neither toppers nor standalone shadows either. It was like, I always wanted to put them on top of something, but it felt like every time I swatched them that they like should have held their own. Now, maybe it was designed in such a way that these were all supposed to be toppers and I missed that, and that's possible. It just let me down. And there is a bias towards it, right? There's a bias against it because I did like my version of the palette better. I did not buy this for a year. It had been out for a year. And I don't think this color story is stale by any means. I still think it's a beautiful color story. I still think it really is gorgeous and it still inspires me. But like, I don't think that this is the version of this color story that's like actually the best version of this color story for me. Like, altering it and doing different things with shadows that I just know I like more is gonna be better for me. So I think what my personal opinion and my ultimate opinion about Glaminatrix is living in the United States and buying these palettes and then waiting for them, because it takes a long time. And I'm not begrudging the company that, because I live in America, I chose to buy it. To me, with all of the other indie brands that I have easier access to, this wasn't worth the wait for me. It wasn't worth buying from Australia, paying like the higher shipping rate to get it to me. And these aren't cheap palettes to begin with. I do think I bought mine on a little bit of a discount, but they are like $50 plus whenever they first get released. So $50 plus, and I think some of them fall in the $70 range. I think it depends on the palette. Plus another $10 shipping, which I believe is what I paid. So it's like $80 for this. I don't know. If this was like $40 and I could get it shipped for free, that feels more good to me in the way I feel about it, right? Like, I think maybe if it was that price point and I like bought it and I had easy access to it, it would have felt worth it to me. But like, I felt like there was so much anticipation around it. Like, I waited literally a whole year to buy it. I buy it and then I wait more for it to like make it through customs and ship internationally. So I think if I lived in Australia, yeah, I would buy their palettes. I would think they were worth it. I would, because it's like also cool because it's like coming from Australia. And I know that there's not too many Australian based brands. So I think it's really cool, but I just prefer the other indie brands that I have purchased from. I would sooner buy from them than to like buy another Glaminatrix palette based on my experience with this one. They might release another banger of a color story that I find completely irresistible, and I might try that again. And like the nearly neutral, I forget what it actually is. That almost got me. Like it's very pretty, but I thought for sure I was going to try this and be like, I now need that. And I tried this and I was like, I'm good. You know, because I have my Makeup by Mario one from last year, the Ethereal Eyes, and that's probably going to fulfill the fantasy better for me than the Glaminatrix version, even though the Glaminatrix one has like many more shades. I'm decluttering the Glaminatrix palette, and I feel very strange about that actually, because I really thought that was gonna be it for me. I really did. And I feel disappointed. And I think my disappointment is also greater because of the history I have with this particular palette. And I'm kind of bummed it didn't really work out for me. That's not to say that Glaminatrix isn't gonna be good for everyone. I just think for me, it wasn't hitting all the marks for me. Anyway, that wraps it up. Is there anything that you're declaring from your collection, or is there anything that you have been testing out and you want to share your review on? Let us know what you're thinking about those products. I would love to have you know. Do you own anything that I reviewed today, and do you feel differently about it? I certainly would love to hear your opinion, as long as you're being respectful, because it's okay that we don't have the same opinion on makeup. That's why there are so many brands and there are so many options for us, is because not all of us have the same taste. But if you are new to this channel and you enjoyed today's video, I would love to have you subscribe. Remember, Critical Sass is going to be on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So check that out. That's my new release videos where we like trash talk new makeup releases. It's like very fun. So I would love to see you there. And make sure you like this video before you leave it. And I'm on patreon.com again if you would like to support me there. And that's that. Remember to follow your haute and you will find me. I will see you real soon. Bye-bye. Friends.